Welcome back to ThimbleberryU. I'm John Jackett. Amy Wallace from Thimbleberry Financial joins me as always. Welcome, Amy.
Hey, Jag. It's good to talk to you.
And today we're diving into something that can often catch people off guard. What to do when your employer makes you an early retirement offer. Surprise! It can be a tough situation to be in, right?
Absolutely, it can be hard. It's a major life decision. And for many people, as you mentioned, it can feel like a surprise. It's a shock. On top of that, what to do isn't always a straightforward choice.
Sure.
Because sometimes turning down the offer might mean facing a forced retirement in the not too distant future. It's challenging.
I can say that here in Detroit, I know that one of the TV stations, they offered a lot of their top talent early retirement packages, and some took it and some didn't. But with the state of media specifically right now, the risk to them was, okay, if you don't take this offer now, we can't guarantee that you might not be subject to layoffs down the road.
Yeah, there's a major international tech firm, September 30th, had people retire or leave early, not on retirement. So these offers were basically blanketed to everybody to take. And within the next week or 2 weeks, everybody else finds out if they're being cut.
Jeez, it's scary stuff. So let's start at the beginning here. When someone gets an early retirement offer, what should they think about first? Like, what's the first place to go mentally, emotionally, psychologically?
I'm glad you asked it that way. First thing I'm going to say is take a big breath.
Yeah.
Or a couple big box breaths, right? Because feeling overwhelmed or blindsided is completely normal. And give yourself some time to sit and process before jumping to any conclusions.
Exactly. It's such a major life decision. You don't want to go, like that.
Absolutely. Second thing is once you are in a calmer place, it's understanding the offer's details. Okay. And this doesn't mean just skimming them. It means getting into it, setting it aside, coming back to it to make sure you, as you've thought of more questions, you make sure you have the answers.
This isn't clicking, I accept the terms and conditions. This is a lot more important than that.
Yes. When I say understand the offer's details, this offer may include more than just a severance payment, right? Here we're talking about early retirement. Mm-hmm. We can apply most of what we're talking about to also, a voluntary layoff. There are differences, of course, but it might not just be a payment for you to retire early. It may be healthcare benefits.
Yeah.
It may be, in the case of tech, maybe equity compensation. These are important things. Are the payments spread out, or are they going to happen all at one time?
There's tax implications there too, right?
Absolutely. And there's tax implications to all the different forms of payments that may be coming to you. Like, for example, some may actually supplement a retirement plan. Mm-hmm. Like you may be able to include some contribution in a retirement plan, but not others. If we have stock, what's happening with your unvested stock? If, for example, some of your stock is eligible to vest at retirement under a certain schedule, is that the same? It should be under an early retirement offer, but maybe they've enhanced some of those provisions. Enhancing could look like making them all vest at once, which again creates a bigger tax bill.
Sure.
What benefits will continue for what time? So we touched on health insurance. Is this going to continue? Is COBRA going to kick in? Are they going to pay for COBRA? Are they giving you a subsidy for health insurance coverage? Just what does that mean? Another thing that comes to mind is evaluating risks.
Sure.
We talked about that maybe this means a bigger layoff, an involuntary layoff if you don't take it. So it's important to just recognize that declining the offer doesn't necessarily mean you stay employed, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose your job either.
Yeah.
One thing to consider is how that choice mentally will affect you.
Yeah.
Some people are going to do much better if they make the choice themselves versus the company makes the choice. Now, there is a way, and I know people who have done this, to say, actually, I kind of would like to make this choice for voluntary retirement, and I'm going to decline this first offer because they may make this choice for me in a couple months and I'd be okay with that. But at least I'm going to get a couple more months of pay and I'll have a little more time to figure out what I want to do. And sure, if I don't get this big payout, cool, but I can always look for another job.
Yeah, this goes back to something we talk about every episode, and that's the psychology behind it, what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, knowing yourself, knowing how you're going to react.
Mm-hmm.
And then really evaluating the impact of that severance. If there is one, I'm calling it severance for early retirement. If there's a big payout, what does that do for you? Is it really retirement money? Is it going to hold you over for a period? If it's early retirement, does that mean that you never go to work again? Or this is going to buy you some time to do something different or more of the same somewhere else? Like, what is it that's valuable to you?
The key takeaway I'm getting from all these factors you're talking about, Amy, is that it's not about just what's in front of you now, but what could happen later. What should people consider next after these initial thoughts?
Yeah, it's how do all of those thoughts align with your lifestyle goals?
Mm-hmm.
Think about the kind of retirement you've envisioned. Now that this offer is in front of you, does accepting or declining the offer help you live the life you want?
Yeah.
Another thing in there is, does accepting that offer, if it means changing your lifestyle, still make that offer beneficial?
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, I was planning to retire in 5 years. I just got an early retirement offer. I could retire now, but I'm going to need to reduce the amount that I'm planning to spend in retirement by 20%.
Yeah.
Can I do that? I figure out I can. Do I want to do that? Is the next question.
Sure.
Is this worthwhile? Does this enhance my life enough to make that worthwhile? Oh, you know what? That's pretty cool to get out of the rat race. And I'd love to go work at a bookstore part-time. That sounds really fun and enjoyable and stress-free. And I know I'll have some flexibility to still travel and do other things I want to do. And that'll help increase some of that income that I would otherwise be losing. Yeah, that actually seems pretty cool and doable. I'm for this. Or absolutely not. I'm not going to get what I want. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Jag, you asked, what should people consider next? In these offers, something that I have heard before is, well, I think maybe I should take it and I will look for another job.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, in the evaluation, we discover that the person with the offer is actually better off not going and finding another job.
What do you mean?
It's an interesting dynamic, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it's come up several times in my career as an advisor where working longer isn't helping the retirement picture when that is the primary goal.
Okay.
And why I say that is income is high enough, that taxes are high enough, that there isn't a benefit to continue working except to maybe pass money on to heirs.
This is why it is so important, and I know you and your team do this with all of your clients. Look at every individual situation. When the variables come in, there's no cookie cutter here. This is how this applies to your specific situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's shocking for people when that is the result. Actually, you're better off retiring now. You're going to have more to spend in the way the numbers work out and where we can draw money from and what accounts you can, if you were to continue to work and save, where you're going to be saving money.
Mm-hmm.
So without there being a benefit, retiring now is better.
Right.
And the relief, like this is one of the shocking things, and the relief that people feel, especially when you're someone who never really saw yourself retiring.
Right.
Or was going to have a hard time making the decision that now's the right time.
Yeah.
It's, I think, one of the moments I love most in my job. And like I said, it's come up a handful of times where that conversation gets to happen. It's so fun and exciting.
Oh, I'm sure.
Another consideration would be if there's any big red flags. So what I mean by that is if it means you're going to be relying heavily really on other savings, if layoffs happen or if you take the offer that's going to drain down a certain bucket that's going to decrease flexibility in retirement, that could be an issue.
Fair. Well, let's talk about the financial side specifically, Amy, since this is your wheelhouse. What should people think about when weighing the financial impact of an early retirement offer?
Well, Jag, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you called out, aren't there tax implications? Absolutely. This is number one. Big payouts often mean big taxes. So a lump sum payment could push you into a higher tax bracket, leading to a bigger tax bill and less cash flow or less money in the bank than what was expected. There may be possible tax strategies, right? Could you spread out these payments over a couple of years to ease the tax burden? Some people are going to have more flexibility than others, especially like if they're selling a business. Can you direct some of the payments to any type of retirement account? And then also the tax considerations, when we talked earlier about selling stock, that's capital gains.
Yeah.
So if you have a big payout and taxes go up, are you now getting hit with a higher capital gains rate also on the sale of stock?
So those are the tax implications. I've got to imagine these are going to impact retirement accounts as well, these offers.
Yes, absolutely. So let's say you get this offer and you're under age 59 and a half. Tapping into a 401k could mean you're going to pay penalties.
Mm-hmm.
So does the money that you're getting paid out minus taxes, right, at the new rate, leave you enough to get through until you can access retirement plans without penalties? Or are you going to be okay paying penalties? That might be okay too. You're missing out on potentially contributions, and this is true most of the time, to retirement accounts. And that means extra potential growth. So stopping work early can have a long-term effect there. So it's important to run those scenarios to actually understand what money will be where, more than likely, right? There's no guarantees at different times to know that you will have the right money in the right spot. And then it's not your retirement account, but your emergency fund. How does having a cushion or lack of cushion going into evaluating an offer impact your decision making? You may need that cushion, and if you don't have a big one, to cover healthcare costs up front, or maybe this is now the time that you need to cover home repairs because you're not working at home. You've got the time and energy to let those repairs happen.
You're starting to go into my next question, Amy. You've talked about a lot of the pitfalls and things to consider. There might be some upside opportunities to an offer like this, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, earlier I talked about how exciting it is when I get to have that conversation with a client that, hey, actually, you're better off taking this offer than you are working. That's one upside. But maybe it's that you're pretty burnt out.
Yeah.
And this is giving you an avenue to find somewhere new that you fit, whether that's in a new career or really pursuing a hobby you have a passion for. And I think those things, they recharge us.
For sure.
Maybe it's doing some consulting or freelance work and it's giving you a ramp to explore how that could go. It's also a great time to reevaluate lifestyle. Is the lifestyle you're living really the lifestyle you want?
Yeah.
We've talked about, Jag, that difference between when we're working full time and what we're doing versus when we're on vacation, even if it's a, staycation. And what that looks like, taking a break can help reset. Other opportunities may be, oh gosh, this is a good time for me to relocate. My parents are in a different place. I want to help them. I now have a good opportunity to do this and do things that are really meaningful.
So, Amy, we've covered a lot of the pitfalls and here are some of the potential opportunities as well. What are some key takeaways you want to leave listeners with today as we think about a decision if this kind of comes at you out of the blue?
Number one, Jag, it's about your long-term happiness.
Sure.
This decision isn't just about money. It's easy to think it is. It's about living the life you want. It's the reason that we save money, we grow money, so that we can have a happy lifestyle now and in the future. So that's number one. Number two is not to let fear drive the decision. It's easy to feel pressured, especially if these offers are rampant within the company you work for.
Yeah.
There's lots of rumors and lots of, but I'm looking at it this way, you need to too, you should. No, it's about making the right decision for you and your own future. Three, and of course, as a financial advisor, it wouldn't make sense for me not to say, get expert help. Right? I turn to colleagues when I need help on certain things. I turn to experts in certain areas of my life. We're about to do a basement remodel. We're not doing it ourselves. We're trying to the experts. And plan for the best and prepare for the worst, because you don't know what life's going to throw at you.
And you can do that with the help of an expert like Amy Walls at Thimbleberry Financial. Amy, if our listeners want to talk to you and your team about their overall financial strategy, or all of a sudden they get one of these offers and they panic and they need to talk to somebody who has a lot of experience in the space, how do they best find you?
They can reach us online at thimbleberryfinancial.com or by giving us a call at 503-610-6510.
Good stuff as always, Amy. We'll talk again in a couple weeks.
Sounds great, Jag. Look forward to it.
Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Thimbleberry Financial are not affiliated. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Thimbleberry Financial are not affiliated.